Okay, so we have next Professor Rob Bakker. So he will be talking about combating food loss and waste along the food production to consumption chain and the role of monitoring systems. So Rob Bakker is a prominent researcher and lecturer at HAS, University of Applied Sciences, specializing in sustainability, environmental science, bioeconomy, and circularity. He studied agrotechnology at Wageningen University and studied his PhD at the University of California, focusing on the sustainable use of residual flows from grain cultivation. His career includes roles as the post-harvest researcher at the IRRI and a senior researcher at ATO-DLO in Wageningen. Since joining HS University in 2015, he has contributed to the Centre for Bio-Based Economy and the research group on sustainable production in the agro-food sector. So I'd like to welcome you to the platform. So you should be able to share your presentation now.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the invitation and also for the nice, kind introduction. Talking about food waste, I was very happy to see also the presentation of the two previous speakers, because there was also an excellent introduction already in the issue of food waste, and as we say, food waste and food loss. Already I think Dr. Meyer showed some data on food loss. If we just look at the Netherlands, currently, of course, a highly developed country, but even there we waste about 2 billion kilos, so 2,000 million kilos of food each year. And if you, just to get a more physical sense, if you would put all this food waste in trucks, you could start a row of trucks from Amsterdam all the way to Barcelona in Spain. So, and of course, in the EU, the food waste is about 40 times this number. As was also mentioned by the previous speaker, food is not just wasted at retail or consumer level, even though there is food loss there, but also in earlier stages of the food production chain. And this also gives the rationale for our research. We, together with our partners, which include food companies, both larger and smaller companies, farmers, as well as partner universities, we started a project investigating food loss in the entire production to consumption chain, so all the way from primary production, agriculture, all up to where it is sold or served as food. One of the important elements here is that we spent quite some time in monitoring of food waste, measuring food waste together with companies, because only when you can see your own food waste, you can get more aware of this problem and also start doing something. But also identifying hotspots, where is this food waste created in the entire chain, and then obviously identifying interventions, improvements there. This is just a graphical screen of the whole production chain. In this case, it's probably a dairy production to consumption chain. Our goal is really to reduce food waste across the chain, also by engaging and encouraging individual parties in the chain to look at their own system. What is the food loss at a particular farm or a particular processing company, but also looking at in the connection in between, because we also see that because of how the food production chain is organized, you end up also with specific food waste along the chain. One of the goals of our program was also to look at what current tools are available to farmers and companies to actually monitor their food waste. And we found, this was 2 years ago, we found 15 different tools published by organizations such as FAO and RAP, which is very prominent in the UK, but also by developing organizations. And so we really sat down to compare them, to look at, what's the application, user friendliness, and could they still be improved. and also to come up with some kind of general model for food waste monitoring in the chain. Um, Now, also we sat down with a number of food companies and farmers to see, okay, what are their own incentives to deal with food waste, to measure it. Are they already monitoring it, or do only they have some estimates? How do they feel about tools to do this? And also to see, okay, how could for us the tool is not a it's not for research. It's really for users to handle their food waste and to improve on this. Um, so we started a three-step design in to say, okay, what are the wishes of companies to make an inventory, then start developing the tool, and then in the end, and I will show you two case studies where we actually use these tools to identify food waste in two particular chains. Um, we also did a strength, weakness, opportunity, threats approach. We are currently publishing this, so there we have all the information on these different tools that we identified and studied. So if you drop me a link or an email, I can send you this. I'll be glad to share. And this is also part of the main matrix that we made. So obviously it's cannot go into detail. So then we came up with a standard format according to wishes of the food companies, and we started also applying it. One of the what we heard food companies is that yes, they want to know their food waste from economic point of view. Obviously, food waste it means an economic loss, but they also like to address the food waste with their employees. And they say, well, we can only really work at reducing food loss in our company if we really get from the bottom, all our employees are aware of it. And so this was also taken along in developing a tool to monitor food waste. Um, this led to a general dashboard that we made, and this is what you see here. And this was produced by our professors and our including our graduate students, which really gives a tool for a production manager, or it could also be a farmer, to really say, okay, based on the data that I have, what is for instance my loss in economic sense from the food waste. But also we looked at CO2 emission related to food loss, because we know in general 1 kilogram of food loss means 3 kilograms of CO2 equivalent emitted, and we also use some other parameters to look at this. Um, Now, for the first case study was a rather small enterprise of about 30 people working there. They are in the business of cutting, blending, and packaging of fresh vegetables. These packs of vegetables are delivered to restaurants, to hospitals, but also to us consumers in supermarkets. They do the direct sourcing from farmers, but also from trading organizations. So that's just where they get their vegetables from. But also they sell to different customers. And according to their own estimates, about 18 to 25% loss was there in the production compared to what they actually bought from farmers and traders and what they sold. So on a weight basis, a tremendous loss of 18 to 25%. And of course, they wanted to know, okay, what specific products are lost, where in the production process is this loss, and of course, in the end, how can we improve it? And so this is where we developed this monitoring tool for this company. And here you can see a part of the tool where the production manager can get a monthly overview of, for instance, what is my food loss this month, what is the total purchase value, and also they can put in certain benchmarks as to say, okay, what is a minimum loss that I could accept, and when do I go over the limit, so to speak. And this was also used by him to discuss food loss with his employees. Um, then obviously we added some more economic analysis, which was very valuable to the plant manager. But also we use a tool called LCA, life cycle analysis, to also see, okay, what is the environmental impact of this food loss. And we actually sat down with farmers, getting all the farm inputs and also all the raw material inputs from the company. And this is a very standard approach in LCA type analysis. So then we also put this in the dashboard, where we could also see, okay, what is the average CO2 emission from loss per measurements. And this we even added something in order to also discuss with employees, okay, how many number of people could you feed with the vegetables that were now wasted. Um, so another type of analysis we did is chain analysis. As I said, we really would like to look into the whole chain. What are the losses? Where are the hotspots? Here we took as a case study the chicken food, the chicken chain, from chicken to chicken meat, and to sit down with different um, actors in the production chain to discuss, okay, what do you see as a potential hotspot? Do you have data? And also to tackle this problem together. And so in one of my final slides, this is sort of what we came up with in terms of the chain analysis, particular to in this case this was the chicken chicken meat sector. On the left, you see the level of waste in the primary sector with the waste, so-called waste hotspots. For instance, there was quite some waste in for instance, or the loss in for instance, transporting the chickens to the next step. Also in the butchery sector, we saw there's for instance incidental outage of cooling freezing facilities, where a whole batch of the chicken meat is going to waste. In a retail, obviously leftover products that are not sold, um, and this is also really something that can be handled by making better estimates and better contracting between suppliers and buyers. And in the end, also food service was at the table, looking at, okay, how could we what are likely hotspots for food loss. For instance, the portion sizes may be too big, preparation is wrong, or the sizes were not well estimated. So with this, we really put together a sort of a framework in order to get a handle on food waste, both for individual companies as well as for a whole production to a consumption chain. So in the conclusion is that we think we can there's definitely ways to handle food waste and to reduce it, but we really need to take a more holistic approach in taking all the actors in the chain on board, and then also start to use the same language in terms of, okay, how do we define waste, and how could we express the waste in a general matter. So with that, I think I'm trying to, yeah, this is my final slide. Some if you're more interested in specific chains, uh, for instance, in dairy, we saw very small producers. Smaller producers often have by a higher percentage of loss. In the processing industry, we see that um, the the for instance, machinery to process dairy or meats have not been kept updated, and this also can lead to food loss. Well, the hospitality food service I already mentioned, and very important is the chain alignment. Is that together with partners in the chain, you align and you can make better, yeah, better ordering and delivery, where you don't produce product that is in the end not sold. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your attention. And again, if you're interested in a paper, then please drop me an email. My email address is here, and I will gladly send you our analysis of food waste. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a really interesting presentation. Is it possible to come onto the screen just for some
Yes,
questions? Yeah.
I pressed the button already a couple of times, and then it says that.
Is it not
Oh,
working
wait,
for
wait,
you?
wait. No, it's working. No,
Oh,
it's
there we
working.
are.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
It's sometimes nice to see
No,
speakers'
of course. Yeah, yeah,
faces
yeah,
as well
yeah.
as we
By all
chat
means,
through.
yes.
So that's great. So really interesting. Again, so it seems to me like it's very much like a root cause analysis, isn't it, throughout the whole chain to see, well, what are the hot spots, and then
Mm-hmm.
how can we solve the issues there. So,
Mm-hmm.
but companies work on very different. There's lots that go on within different sort of different sectors, aren't there? So,
Mm-hmm.
are you developing these tools, as you say, to address different sectors, and how easy are they going to
Mm-hmm.
be for businesses to engage with?
Yeah, so obviously we've looked at dairy meat
Mhm.
specifically for chicken, as well as the vegetable sector, and obviously these sectors are very differently organized. So,
Mm,
but we do think we have a general model, a general approach that can then be when you sit down with a particular chain, you can adapt
mm,
to your needs. What we see with larger companies is that often they already have something in place to monitor food waste. They also have more manpower to deal with this issue. They might have an environmental impact department or something like that. But
mm.
in particular, the smaller companies, like the example of the vegetable packaging, which is about 30 people. Yeah, there's not much time that these people have to really sit down and measure food loss. So it must be something that is quite easy to use and automatic, so to speak. So, but we do think it's adaptable to different food chains. Yes.
Okay. And so, um, again, I suppose for rollout for things like these tools, when do you think they would be
Mm-hmm.
available for general business to
Yeah,
engage
I
with?
think well the our general model is also it's basically if you have the Microsoft package, and I don't want
Mm,
to make advertisement here, but we used
mm,
Excel and Power BI. So that's the general model, and that's also we can share this. There's a Dutch language version and an English language version.
mm,
Obviously, we also provided a manual for people who say, okay, I want to adapt this to my own needs. So that's we have that, and I can provide the links for that. Um, I think for smaller producers, it's probably would be wise to organize them in, some producers have some kind of organized
mm.
organization that to put it yeah to do it together. That would be perhaps better. Yeah, but we can share what we developed, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Fabulous. And so, as far as like kind of cost savings, then, what for your case studies that you've done so far? What do what were the
Hmm.
projections, as it were, for actual cost
Yeah.
for those savings for the
Well,
business?
you often get in when you sit down with these companies and also farmers. You often get these uh, discussions on um, yeah, to what extent is this food loss
Mm,
avoidable or not? Huh? And we saw, for instance, for tomatoes that are grown in our greenhouses in the Netherlands, is that there's a certain grading procedure where too small tomatoes or too green tomatoes are, they're sorted out, and then it's food loss. But on the other hand, producer knows if I don't take these two small tomatoes out, then I cannot sell my product, or my product is the value is lower. So there's always I guess a balance. Definitely, we have to tackle avoidable food loss, obviously, but there are specific situations where you can say, well, yeah, maybe this part of the loss is not really avoidable. So then we really should see, okay, what other products could we make with this lost food? So go to recycling or upcycling or something like that.
Okay. Okay. There are some questions that have popped into the chat as well. And I don't know, again, I'm conscious of the time. So if I direct back to the Green Institute, are we happy for those if I ask the speakers to address perhaps those in the chat and give some responses back? Would that be okay? I don't know.
Yeah.
If you can,
Yeah, I can see the webinar chat, so I think that's for
Okay,
you. Yeah.
yes. So that could be
Yeah.
picked up now. That would be great. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.